say you're a corporate agberu. So how did you navigate that you are so responsible? What are the things you did not do despite peer pressure?
There are lots of it. First, I found God. First, I grew up from the Catholic background, right? When I was growing up, I had this flair, just this passion for God. So I decided to venture into serving God in my church.
Wow.
Right? There's a research that happened some time ago, and they said a particular school in Edo State, was the second most notorious school regarding cultism in the world.
Are you serious?
Yes, there was a research that happened some time ago. And if you probably do your research back, you'll find that I schooled at Uniben. You found that the year 2000 to 2003, Uniben was most notorious, again, in certain dispensation regarding unrest, cultism being part of it.
Wow.
Right? And all this being put together, the Uniben was surrounded by 3 communities. These 3 communities have separate cult groups, which you must not interface with.
3 separate
cult groups. Osasoge was there, Ekosodi was there, and BDPA was there. All these are 3 separate cult groups that they have 1 or 2 things in them. And coincidentally, one of the compounds I stayed at Osasoge had a cult group. Right? They always come there, 1 or 2 things, do their things, and you could see many youths coming, and it wasn't my thing. Okay. I was always church, right? Having the fear of God that I would climb up the altar on a Sunday to proclaim the word of God. I will never. So it's got to the point where they even tried. They bullied me, everything. At the point of the bully, they said, "Do you want to join us?" The answer was no. So I paid people off just to let me have peace.
You paid people?
Yes, I paid people not to be angry.
Are you serious?
It was that terrible. I'm not joking. I paid people not to be angry. Yes, I paid somebody to go and beg somebody not to be angry. At these stages of begging, money was going out.
So, sir, what about, because what we are talking about now is what people are facing as we speak.
Yeah.
As we speak. So, sir, what role did your peer pressure, friends, play? Did you have any friend that was a cultist that was stalking you, or did you have anyone that was trying to convince you to join the fraternity at the time?
I didn't know that some of the friends I had were cultists until the issue of those people came onto me.
Oh.
I never knew. One of them was even in my class. I had an issue regarding they came to my room, they boggled. They came to my room to charge a phone. I was running a generator, and I plugged their phone. They boggled the phone. They said I should pay for their own phone that they stole. After which they took my television. That why would I be on generator? They took all these things. Why would I be on the TV, on the generator? Who gave me the right to be on the generator? Why would I be from a big man? So all these things until when the issue started coming up. My friend in my class said, "Jerry, don't worry, let me go on my people." I was shocked. I'm telling you, I was shocked that this guy
is part. Social media these days has become one of the so-called where parents give their children to watch. I mean, as in, yes, if they are busy, they are finding something to give children to stay away or to be free from them. And unfortunately, it has been a way that has spoiled children too. Yes. So what is the balance that we can create to help children not to be spoiled with social media as a way of influencing them negatively?
Even going beyond social media, technology as a whole has distorted your bringing of children. My daughter has a tab, but there was this restriction we gave. First, we made sure that we profiled everything that comes to that tab. Nobody installs anything on that tab except us, and it was so regulated that before you do anything, it will prompt my wife.
Wow.
Before anything is being installed, it will prompt her that this wants to be installed. If she does it okay, nothing goes there. That's one. Number 2, the plan we have for her, that in a certain by the age of 10, she must have done human resource management. She must have done safety. She must have started her business. At 10 years old, she has a laptop that is not functional. It was for a reason. But at the age of 5, she has a functional laptop. Why? It is progression. So at that time, she must have started doing something relative to building her future for what I want her to do by 10 years old. So all these are all planned. So you because the person is watching TikTok, because that generation they are TikTokers. Because they are watching TikTok doesn't make TikTok bad. But how do you come into TikTok? then do the trains with them.
Most of these agbero guys come from a home where the father abuses the mom. Yes, and so they come with this aggressive attitude outside. So it tends to sprawl out of what they've been doing or seeing inside. How could couple behave to help a child's mentality? Hello, welcome to Question No Podcast, a segment of podcast that we question everything about the church, the African community, and families. And today is going to be an explosive session here that we're about to delve in today. And in this podcast, I have a honorable and intelligent gentleman, a husband of one wife, a father. He's many things to many people, but let me allow him the honor to introduce himself. Please, sir, may we meet you?
I'm Jeffrey Gwobadia. I am a serial entrepreneur and many other things. A Christian, a father, and a husband. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. So in today's podcast, we are dealing on the subject, does environment determines a child being responsible? Does environment determines a child being responsible? You would agree with me that in today's world, environment has in one way or the other influence a child. And we can't, it can be overemphasized. So, and today we have Mr. Jeffrey Gwobadia, who has passed through the corridors of rough environment and can still stand to be a responsible man, a caring father, and a faithful husband. So this is why we have him here on this podcast today. All right. So a brief introduction about what the environment is. Environment is a place where a child, when one grow up, everything the person sees, the living and non-living factors that surrounds a person. So, sir, let me bring this question speedily to you. So, one of the things I believe is that the home is one of a child's first institution when a child is brought up. How can the parents make the home a very conducive environment that the child can grow and become responsible?
Thank you. It's all encompassing. Like you said, environment is where a child comes up, is brought up.
Okay.
I would like to say there are two types of environment to every child.
Okay.
In fact, three. May we extend to the fourth. The internal environment from the home.
Okay.
And external divided into three. One from the church, one from school, and one from external bodies. Now, if the home is not properly checked, the other influences, you could see they are more than the home, 3 to 1. They may have 1 or 2 influence on the child. So, like you said, the question, why the issue of the parents, what role does it play? A child, whether you like it or yes, from 1 year or 1.5 year, tends to see and take note of everything that happens in the home.
Yeah.
So it becomes it becomes a thing of note that you must, whether the child is talking or not, the child is seeing what is happening. The child recognizes what's happening, and the child takes to what's happening, even up to watching television. My daughter was some days ago, she was saying some unfounded things that she saw on TV, and I cautioned her immediately. That she was asking a question. Why would that is it desire? I said, no, you don't say that. I make sure I caution her. Yeah. You must not mention this again. I sounded it in her ears, and I've done that several times, and that's the end of it. Whatever I do that, she knows that I'm serious about it. So I've gone to the extra mile to understand that whatever she hears, whatever she sees, whatever she knows are all ethical for her upbringing. So in the home, what we do is we tend to bring up, it has now become a deliberate affair. We're not forming it. Right? It is before marriage. I made sure I talked to God. God is part of our marriage.
Yeah.
God is part of our home. And I talked to God to give me direction on where to go and who to marry. And invariably, He has done that. And the same thing from my wife's perspective. So we have a similar perspective of how marriage should be. I would discuss at length at how marriage should be. Even before getting married, we discussed everything about how the marriage children upbringing, everything should be. And we are leaving all the discussions out.
Wow.
So it's not something we are just trying to fit in. We already seen these things happen before marriage. And in marriage, we are living what we discussed.
Wow.
So in the environment at home, you must live a loving environment. A loving at every instance. The child must perceive that she or he is loved. At every instance. So it is when a child is loved at home that no love that comes from outside can infiltrate or influence the person.
Amazing.
No, nothing outside.
Amazing.
So at every instance, if you know me and my daughter, I always ask her,
yes, sir.
do you love your daddy? You know we love you. We let her know. Do you know we love you? Do you know I love you? Do you know I trust you? Do you know I care about you? Do you know what about your mom? So she emphasized, reiterate this. Every morning, we must reiterate it to her. Every day. So she does these things deliberately. Daddy, I love you. Mommy, I love you. Oh, my dad, come and hug me. So you see this care. That cannot happen outside, no matter what you want to say. But she knows that at home, she's more loved than any other person.
Wow.
So this is what we are able to do.
Amazing. Oh, wow. Okay, sir, let's do a flashback.
Okay.
I have heard severally how you would mention. In fact, guys, one of the things that made me submit, Mr. Jeff is my boss, made me submit to Mr. Jeff, apart from work ethics, I know that his life generally is balanced. So I heard you mention about your upbringing, where you have the rough cultism, bad environment. But how did you navigate through that you became so responsible that if someone is not, if you don't look, you don't know that, I heard you say you're a corporate Agbero. So how did you navigate that you are so responsible? What are the things you did not do despite peer pressure?
There are lots of it. First, I found God. I grew up from the Catholic background, right? When I was growing up, I had this flair, just this passion for God. So I decided to venture into serving God in my church.
Wow.
Right? There's a research that happened some time ago, and they said a school, particular school in Edo State, was the second most notorious school regarding cultism in the world.
Are you serious?
Yes, there's a research that happened some time ago. And if you probably do your research back, you find that I schooled at Uniben. You find that the year 2000 to 2003, Uniben was most notorious, again, in certain dispensation regarding unrest, cultism being part of it.
Wow.
Right? And all this being put together, the Uniben was surrounded by 3 communities. These 3 communities have separate cult groups, which you must not interface with.
3 separate cult groups.
3 separate cult groups. Usasoge was there, Ekosodi was there, and BDPA was there. All these are 3 separate cult groups that they have 1 or 2 things in them. And coincidentally, one of the compounds I stayed at Usasoge had a cult group. Right? They always come there, 1 or 2 things, do their things. And you could see many youths coming, and it wasn't my thing.
Okay.
I was always church, right? Having the fear of God that I would climb up the altar on a Sunday to proclaim the word of God. That's one. And morning mass, afternoon mass or evening mass, at certain instances, depending on the roster you are set to handle. I also come to proclaim the word of God. And how will I now be climbing the altar, proclaiming the word of God, and I'm doing something that is not ethical inside of God? I was scared of God. Let me put it that way. I was scared of God, afraid of God. So having this fear of God at the back of my mind, and being the only son of my parents, I don't want to put my parents into grief.
The only son, sir.
The only son, yes. I've seen many instances then where boys at the final year just killed. Right? So what now happens to my mom? What happens to my dad? Heart attack, my younger ones, what happens to them? So this whole thing played a role in my life. Saying, no, I will never, ever, ever put these people at risk. I will never. So it's got to the point where they even tried. They bullied me, everything. At the point of the bully, they said, do you want to join us? The answer was no. So I paid people off just to let me have peace.
You paid people?
Yes, I paid people not to be angry.
Are you serious?
It was that terrible. I'm not joking. I paid people not to be angry. Yes, I paid somebody to go and beg somebody not to be angry. At these stages of begging, money was going out. So these are instances. Many persons will probably face this in those areas.
Yes.
But it was a resolve. I feared God. I feared God a lot. I'm still afraid of God. He's the only one I have. He's the only
Wow.
God I have. So I didn't want to jeopardize my future. What about my children? If I get killed, unfortunately, I want probably those, and what happens to my parents? My future of probably getting married, giving birth, raising godly children. What happens to that dream? What happens to impacting lives? What happens? So all those things ran through my mind. What happens to all those things? So it was a resolve.
Wow.
It was a resolve.
Wow. So, sir, what about, because what we are talking about now is what people are facing as we speak.
Yeah.
As we speak. So, sir, what role did your peer pressure, friends, play? Did you have any friend that was a cultist that was talking to you, or did you have anyone that was trying to convince you to join the fraternity at the time?
I didn't know that some of the friends I had were cultists until the issue of those people came onto me.
Oh.
I never knew. One of them was even in my class. I had an issue regarding they came to my room, they boggled. Right? They came to my room to charge a phone. I was running a generator and I plugged their phone. They boggled the phone. They said I should pay for their own phone that they stole. After which they took my television. That why would I be on generator? They took all these things. Why would I be on TV, only generator? Who gave me the right to be on generator? Why would I be from a big man? So all these things until when the issue started coming up. My friend in my class said, Jerry, don't worry, let me go on my people. I was shocked.
Child.
I'm telling you, I was shocked that this guy
is part.
So you never can tell. So one thing I thank God for, well, he gave me direction, right? And there was fun at that time, right? Because I was into this hustling, teaching extramural classes, doing one or two. I was doing drawings then, the AutoCAD drawings. So I was getting one or two small money around. So I was able to pay some of these things off.
Wow.
And it helped me.
Wow.
So peer pressure is real, but if you have a focus, before you enter school. One of the things that even helped me, I did diploma first before entering university. So this university system already gotten used to it at the diploma level. So I knew their antics. So they'll come at first, buy you all those things. I was not moved by affluence of other persons. I needed to be contented with what I had. My dad, which I learned from my dad. Right? I needed to be contented with what I had. So despite all what you bring to me, it not concern me. It's not for me. So I wasn't moved by, you're driving the car. Till now, I'm not moved by it.
Amazing. Amazing. So sir, let me come to this. For me personally, my parents have been married for about 35 years now. And I've not for once heard them quarrel.
Yeah.
Like not for once. So one day I mistakenly slept in my parents' room. And around I know if my mom watches this now, she'll be saying, well, I think I've not mentioned this to them before. Around 5 a.m. they woke up and my mom told my dad. No, my dad told my mom, that thing you did, why did you shout at me like that in front of your children? And my mom on the bed apologized and told daddy, I'm sorry. And in my mind, sir, till today, I was shocked at the way it was resolved. So, sir, how can couples behave? Because for most times where most of these Agbero guys come from a home where the father abuses the mom. Yes. And so they come with this aggressive attitude outside. So it tends to sprawl out of what they've been doing or seeing inside. How could couple behave to help a child's mentality or influence a child to be responsible? Because I know of a sure that you are happily married.
Yeah.
And how should it be done?
Like I said, before we got married, we discussed a lot. Yeah. We discussed up to the point of how to settle quarrels. If we should have quarrels. I told my wife before starting that I don't have strength for quarrels. I don't have that energy. And she was so happy. She said she didn't have that as well. So going into marriage without discussing what you expectations in marriage is a wrong thing. You're not moved by beauty or the euphoria of wanting to get married. You're moved by the reality of things. When growing up, I never had, I didn't take pleasure in having friends my age mates. I took pleasure in having friends my father's age.
Wow.
So I saw things. I saw marriages. I studied marriages.
So sir, you left
I
your
left, no, in my street, I don't have friends. I don't
Wow.
have friends. Yeah,
That's wisdom. That's
I
wisdom.
took that pleasure. There was a time my dad was having a street meeting and he was shocked at the persons, because I went to give him something in the street meeting. He was shocked at the person that I called him my name. I was, how you telling my son?
Wow.
So we were making some certain discussion. I was making inputs. Father became proud. I mentioned, that's my son, that's my son. So I took pleasure in having these things. I studied marriages, and I know that many marriages had issues at the early stage. If you try to know, we are close to 5 years in marriage.
Wow.
We only had disagreements twice, which
Wow.
happened this year. Not normal disagreement, just frivolity, like, hair, I don't like your hair. I don't like,
Okay.
no, I don't like, I can't change your hair. No, I don't want to change my hair. Okay, I'll buy you a new one. That's the disagreement. But it was settled on the spot. And I think there's a portion in the Bible that do not let the sun
Go down
on your before you settle your and stuff like that. So it was deliberate. Discussions about this, we had seen it before now. We had seen when quarrels degenerated because of ego and it spoiled marriages. I have seen it time without number. I have seen husband beating the wife. I have seen wife stabbing the husband. I have seen things. These are things I vow that will never happen in my marriage. However, never you take the hand of God in marriage. Right? My marriage is anchored on God. Anchored on God. If you see the way I take my marriage. Yeah. There's this program I always go every Sunday in my church, Fresh Wine for Couples.
Yeah.
It is. I'm not going there just to fulfill righteousness. It's a step to ensuring that my marriage aligns with the goal I had before marriage. It's a goal. It's what I have promised God, that my marriage will be a model marriage to people. Why would I quarrel when we can discuss? Why shout? Why shout? It's not a human being you are talking to. So what you can say amicably, why would you say it while shouting? There are things we discuss on the bed. There are things we discuss on the phone. Yeah, you see the way I talk now. I talk now at least 3-4 times every day. Wow. We left the same on video calls constantly. But I need to keep that relationship. That communication must be there. We take pleasure in each other. She's my confidant. My next of kin. My daughters know this. Yes. They must know my wife first before them. They know. So if I'm not putting any other thing before my wife, so why would there be quarrel? My parents know this. My siblings know this. It's not like they know. It's not.
Be like saying,
they know that it's my family first. My wife first. My wife is my first family before my children. So these have been well spelled out to everybody. Everybody know their place.
Wow.
Everybody know their place. It's not that they are not important. They are well important. When it comes to my wife, my family, it's her first in that place. Because my peace of mind is sacrosanct.
Wow.
Sacrosanct. So having these in marriage, having your priorities set out initially, putting God in that priority, letting God give you direction, it will go a long way in giving you peace of mind, giving you the future that you envisage.
Wow.
To give you.
Amazing. If you're joining us and you are watching us, please, what is your take? How does environment influence a child being responsible? You can go to the comment section, type in what you think about this. And so far, so good. Mr. Jeffrey here has done amazing justice to this topic. And he mentioned something. He said that he prioritizes his wife beyond any other family member. And this, if we take this very important, most children will see this and know that daddy loves mom, mommy loves dad, and we will replicate same. And we will have a good society tomorrow. So what are you doing as a husband, as a wife, as a child? Even if you came from a home that they had a poor and abusive background, you can change the narrative. You can be the change agent. And Mr. Jeff just mentioned, if you are in Uyo and you've not joined Fresh Wine for Couples, I'm just now advertising Fresh Wine for Couples now. Come on, have a place that you learn. He mentioned that he does not dine with his friends. He go people who are elderly to learn wisdom. Thank you very much, Mr. Jeff. Sir, please let me bring this, as we are bringing this to a wrap. So social media these days has become one of the succor where parents give their children to watch. I mean, as in, yes, if they are busy, they are finding something to give children to stay away or to be free from them. And unfortunately, it has been a way that has spoiled children too. Yeah. So what is the balance that we can create to help children not to be spoiled with social media as a way of influencing them negatively?
Even going beyond social media, technology as a whole has distorted the upbringing of children. My daughter has a tab, but there was this restriction we gave. First, we made sure that we profiled everything that comes to that tab. Nobody installs anything on that tab except us. And it was so regulated that before you do anything, it will prompt my wife.
Wow.
Before anything is being installed, it will prompt her that this wants to be installed. If she does it okay, nothing goes there. That's one. Number two, it will try to know that screen time spoils children's eyes. It spoils children's eyes. Now, if you now notice that your child goes, because of screen time, they go closer to the television, thinking they want to concentrate. The light, their eyes have been affected, as we speak. And if you cannot correct the eye between 1 to 5 or 7 years, that eyes become bad for life.
Oh my God.
For life. So we have noticed, these are research, like I said, we discussed. My wife and we discussed. It's not what we just took one day because we want to get married. No, this was months of discussion. We had certain days in the week that we talk about certain things in our marriage. We had a calendar, right? We dated, yes, we courted, we did effective courting. Days in the week, 2-3 days in the week. We discussed these things. I'm not a fan of reading books. She read books. So she brings the book, reads the books, outline the things in the books, and we discuss those stuff.
Wow.
Right? I prefer reading on the screen. I just summarize it. And so she summarizes stuff, we discuss, and we talked at length. And I let her know my fears. She let me know her fears. We talked about it. Even up to how many hours a child should spend in a day watching television. It was discussed. Now, many a time we come back from work late,
Okay.
And on Wednesdays we go to midweek service, and we come home late, 8:30, 9 o'clock. My daughter only has 30 minutes from that time to look at TV. She has her time, her clock is setting. She knows her clock. By the time it's going beyond her clock, I'll let her know, madam, go and sleep. Go and sleep. Now, I'll ring it in her ear. She'll give me an excuse. I want to do my assignment. Leave the assignment. We'll do it in the morning. Go and sleep. She obeys and goes to sleep. She has her clock. So at certain instances, she knows that when she's supposed to sleep, Daddy, I want to go and sleep. She come and hug Daddy, come and peg Daddy. She goes to sleep. It is something we have imbibed in her. For the last 6-7 months, she has not touched her tab. It is working. Yes, it is working. It is put in my wardrobe. She does not touch it. It is for a reason. Now, for us to engage her for not disturbing us, we give out things to write.
Wow.
Yeah, it's okay. Write 1 to 20, 1 to 20. I recite it. Give her colors. She colors. So we engage her actively. Actively. So when engaging her in such a situation, if she has written that, write another one. If she's not do another one. So she enjoys doing those things rather than just watching. So if you put cartoon for my daughter now, she's just look at why cartoon. She watches something that is advanced than cartoon. She watches what we watch, she watches it, but we screen what we watch. So we watch Nollywood videos that are educational. Right? Yeah. She watches advanced movies that are educational. So when she listens to that, you hear her talk. She doesn't talk her age.
Yes.
She doesn't talk her age.
Relate,
she talks
advanced.
She's just 4 years, 3 years old. But the way she does her things like 8-10 years old, it was deliberate. The plan we have for her, that in a setting by the age of 10, she must have done human resource management. She must have done safety. She must have started her business. At 10 years old, she has a laptop that is not functional. It was for a reason. But at the age of 5, she has a functional laptop. Why? It is a progression. So at that time, she must have started doing something relative to building her future for what I want her to do by 10 years old. So all these are all planned. Wow. Like I said, we discussed everything. We discussed everything up to willing properties.
Wow.
These are projections of up to 20-30 years from now. We are all discussed. So when that time starts happening, we'll not say it's no. They are all in the pipeline. They are all in the pipeline. So when you see these children, you say screen time, yes, they learn so much negativities from the screen. But you must, as a parent, take things into your hands. If you leave the other environment to take care of your children, right? You know what you get. You know what you get. Like I said, there are 4 kinds of environments. Your internal, which is the home, it must be strong because the forces against the environment, there are 3 or more. I didn't mention the social media and there are 3 or more, right? So if you can have a strong foundation, which is the home, imagine how can a child fight 3 or more environments? It's so depressing. Wow. So whether you come from a poor background, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But what goes ahead of you is what you should be concentrating on.
Wow.
If your child must do beyond you, right? What are you doing now to ensure that 10 years from now, you'll be proud of what you have done?
Oh, amazing. As you're bringing this to a close, Mr. Jeff mentioned something. He said about standard, discussing having standards, setting calendar, setting priorities, setting limitations, principles that will help a family. So, sir, let me bring this. Someone might be asking, my child is upgrown, is a teenager now. I didn't set these things in places and things are almost going sour. So let's bring, what can you advise someone whose child is already on the wrong path and trying to go south? What are the things that the parent should do to help the child grow now? Or you can just also talk to the child too. What if a child comes to you, sir, I'm going negative. How should I help my life to become better?
Okay, thank you. I've been in that position of grooming younger persons. In fact, I think by my calendar, I've been able to groom, I think 7 or 8 people in that direction. They are becoming better. They are better as we speak. I have a younger sister who's also a teenager, my last born, and I'll be able to groom her to an extent. Yeah. I told my dad about 2 years ago to leave her to me. There was a time she was going south, but I came in, right? There are things we need to do. One, who does that teenager look up to? So I became that model that she needed to look up to.
Wow.
So we discussed whatever you need. I let her know whatever you need, all you need to do is to ask. She's not up to the age of having an account, but we open an account for her. She has good sum of money in that account. She keeps records. She has details. So we're able to groom her to that extent. One, I said, having a role model, who do you talk to? Now, the parents, you had that wrong because you are not friends with your child. Okay. You are not friends with your child. So it is now left for you to reignite. It may be difficult, but seriously, find a way to be important in that person's life, that child's life. Now, matter to what matter to them. Because the person is watching TikTok doesn't make TikTok bad.
So let me say that again. Matter to what matters to them.
So because the person is watching TikTok, because that generation, they are TikTokers. Because they are watching TikTok doesn't make TikTok bad. But how do you come into TikTok? Then do the trends with them. You're doing trend, you're dance with them. Just say, say friend, wow, beautiful. They started trusting you to a certain extent. Then discuss their pertinent issues to them. Talk to them, take them out, discuss, talk as much as you want to talk, discuss, tell them what bothers you. But be as open to them, let them not see you as a stranger. I'm saying this because I have been able to groom people in that direction. And persons have been good. I can list names if you want me to mention. There are many persons, some of them are doing excellently well. One of them who has more money than me. More money, I can boldly say it. More money than me. And you times 3 or times 4. He's doing excellently, and I'm proud. I always make mention to him because he's good. Because he was in that direction of going south. And so, matter to what matter to them. Be a role model. Be a friend to them. Right? And number 3, put them. If you cannot, you are too busy. Find a way to engage them into productive details. For instance, help them learn productive tech. Productive tech. Look for mentorship groups, boys mentors, boys coach, girls coach. Look for environment that they can blend in. Right? We have a good coach in the city that is doing well for teenagers as well. Aaron Solomon, so he's doing well. Look for people in that direction that can help out. There are many persons online that you can meet up, coaches that can help out in doing these persons. Another thing, right? Some of them may be probably being bullied outside, maybe Facebook or whatever. Tell them your experiences of being bullied and how you came around it. They can tend to. So what I'm trying to say is find a way to build trust with these people. If you can build trust, it will take a while, but eventually they will come to trust you and they'll do what you want and how you want it.
Eventually they will come to trust you and they will do what you want and how you want them to do it. It has been an amazing and explosive, educating session here at Questionable Podcast with Mr. Jeffrey Gobadia, PhD in view. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us. And I trust that you've learned so much. Why not join the comment section and comment on what you've learned in this very particular episode? And don't forget, if you are a child and maybe your parents are deceased or you don't have someone, why not get a role model for yourself? Join a community of mentorship and do what you want to do. And remember, Mr. Jeff said, he feared God. The fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, and it will help you to become a good and responsible person in society tomorrow. Thank you for joining us today. See you next time on Quest of No Podcast. Bye for now.